This is The Scene
on BBC Radio London with Aurie Styla.
This is The Scene.
I love that one. That one's a vibe. Still, Cindy Moose, Wala Mist, Still Bangles, and Steph London, 47. My name is Aurie Styla. You are listening to The Scene on BBC Radio London. I've got my first guest in the building, looking suave as ever. Award-winning barrister and founder of the charity Urban Lawyer. What is going on? Doctor, let me not say Mr. Doctor Tunde Okewale. Did I pronounce that correct?
No, you didn't.
Thank
you very
Help me
much.
out here, go on.
You complimented me on my outfit, so I'm happy.
All right, go on.
Are you going to do it in an African accent?
Try me.
Go on then.
No, you tell me.
Okewale.
Okay, Tunde Okewale. That's it, right?
It sounded kind of comedic when you did it.
I'm not even trying to take liberties, bro. I have to put some respect in the name, especially with the 3 letters afterwards. Dr. Tunde Okewale MBE. Come on, I'm not going to just laugh.
I like how you said that, actually. It sounded nice.
Throw some respect on you. How you doing, brother? You all good?
Speaking of respect,
yes.
Any food for me?
Oh, my gosh. All right, I got grapes here if you want some.
I'm not sure. Seeing as I'm going to be here till 10 o'clock, that's not going to be sufficient.
Do you hear how these people talk? He's got doctor in his name and he's requesting biscuits and stuff, yeah? I even got biscuits here for myself.
Prosecco would be good.
Prosecco?
Yeah.
We don't promote drinking on the air. That's
Really?
not what we do here. You might, I don't. I'm not trying to get my P45 slapped at me. Trying to get me in trouble. Now I'm
Listen,
playing.
I'm not even being paid to be here, so I don't want you talking about P45.
Oh my, yeah, so you aren't, but me. I'm working and I got a great guest today. Thank you for coming down, bro.
Thank you for having me.
No, honestly, absolute pleasure. And I mean, little backstory, guys. Me and Tunde met for a mutual friend, and we were around the table having a nice conversation, all of us, right? And straight away, when we just talked about what we do and what we're into and stuff, instantly I looked at him. I said, "This guy, killer. Absolutely love what he's doing. Amazing."
You know what? Thank you very much. But let's be honest. How we really met was that Aurie was part of a group of 4 people that
Okay.
burgled a stately home up
Oh,
north.
behave yourself.
Okay. They were looking for gold coins. And
That is a movie
unfortunately-
plot, people.
Unfortunately, they came across some unsavory characters who were also looking for the same thing.
All right, so he saw. We're going to talk about that today as well. I mean, because we got a queen who's going to come in and discuss that. Not trying to tell people that I was burgling a house. It was from a movie plot. But big up for even mentioning that, bro. It was a good film. I did my bit in there, and you laughed. So that's all right.
Are we dead yet?
Are we dead
In
yet, sir?
cinemas next year.
Yes, it is. In fact, bro, but let's not talk about me. It's about you, sir.
Okay, what do you want to know?
All right. Well, firstly, award-winning barrister. Right. Let's talk about the barrister bit, sir. Now, am I wrong in saying? I say lawyer, but is terminology difference? Tell me the difference.
So a lawyer is a generic phrase for anyone that practices law.
Okay.
So a solicitor is a lawyer, a judge is a lawyer, a barrister is a lawyer.
Okay.
I'm a barrister, and the specific difference is that my primary responsibility is expert advice and advocacy in court.
Okay.
There are some crossovers between what I do and what solicitors do, but if there was to be a distinction, that's what it would be, and I wear the wig and gown.
Okay. Is it similar to, I mean, this is only from what I know on basic knowledge. Do you have to pass a certain bar here as well, like people do in other countries?
So it's university. After university, if you've done a law degree, it's law school. After that, there's a 1-year apprenticeship, and then you've qualified.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And am I right in saying, not only are you a barrister, are you one of the youngest black barristers in, there's something here that
I'll take that because it's not true.
No, there was something. The
recent. Recently I was appointed a master governing bencher.
Okay.
So basically, people say, "Oh, what does that mean?" It sounds kind of grand, but I know what it means. But barristers in England and Wales are part of 4 Inns of Court. So before you can become a barrister, you have to be linked to one of the Inns of Court. Now, the Inns of Court are governed by master benchers. So the best way to explain it is if you had a company and you had like a board of directors, I'm one of the board of directors.
Okay.
Yeah, for the barristers, and that's it.
What you say? That's it. I don't think that's it. That sounds massive, bro. That's not just any little dibby achievement. That's why you got MBE behind your name. You got to put respect on we all got to put respect on what you do, sir.
People love being nice to you when they're not paying for you.
This
guy. I love it.
This guy.
It sounded so great. The first time I met you, like all of these kind of graces and compliments weren't really flowing.
Are you
now I'm
for
on the
real?
show. Now I'm on the show, and it's
wow,
like,
is that what it is? You're gonna do me like that, bro?
We can't give you any grapes, no prosecco.
I offered you grapes a minute ago, brother. You were like, I want a drink.
Too many red grapes, not enough green ones.
You prefer the green ones?
Yeah.
All right. As long as it's grapes, bro, I just feel like it's healthier than chocolates, but there's still a lot of sugar in it. I don't care what colour the grapes are.
Fair play.
So, aside from also being a barrister, you run a charity called Urban Lawyer.
Yeah.
Urban Lawyers. What's that about?
So Urban Lawyers is a charity that makes the law more accessible to everyone in two ways. Firstly, if you want to know what your rights are or what the law means, we explain it to you. Secondly, if you're someone that comes from a non-traditional background, i.e. no money, no networks, we help you get into the profession. And we do that for a number of platforms. So we do skills-based events where we train you up, develop the soft skills you need to be more competitive. We link you with mentors. We give you work experience, financial assistance. I've got some scholarships coming out next year, but I can't really speak too much about yet. Okay. And we've got a national student conference happening on the 16th of November. Unfortunately, tickets are sold out for that. Sold out about 4 weeks ago.
That's a good problem to have, bro. Congrats.
Yeah, and it happens every year. And it's our 10-year anniversary next year.
Congrats, bro.
Yeah, that's what we do. And we're national. We're in 5 cities: Manchester, Birmingham, Bristol, Sheffield, and London. And yeah,
nice. And what made you say you need to start this charity?
Because once I became a barrister, the question everyone asked me was, how did you do it? And secondly, I got a friend that has a hypothetical situation. And
you must get loads of those.
As soon as you tell someone you're a lawyer, they think you can solve every single problem. It's like, you're a lawyer, right? My friend's sister's husband has an immigration. And you're thinking, what? Like, even cab drivers, everyone will ask you like random questions. And then the 2 ways you avoid it is you simply say, sorry, it's not something that I specialise in. Or secondly, if it's something that you really need my assistance with, I can divert you to my clerks and I'll tell you what my fees are. And most times it stops.
That's when it goes quiet, yeah. Now I can understand that. Now, being able to set up this charity and show people the journey of how to become a lawyer or how to even just work in law across the board, the applicants that you're getting, I'm just looking at a name and it says Urban Lawyers. Is it more, like you said, targeting people, not who just need the advice, but maybe from backgrounds that would like to grow out of that?
You know the funny thing about it is that when I started Urban Lawyers, there was no Urban Music Awards, there was none of this. The concept of it was literally in a city. Okay. So it wasn't something that had a connotation that was linked to race or a particular background. It was really just inner city kids. Ultimately, I wanted to help people that were poor. Because one thing that I've experienced, certainly by being in the profession, is that a lot of people, may look like me, but haven't had the same cultural experiences. Okay. And ultimately, it's really about that cultural capital and social mobility, making sure that people that haven't had that advantage can, be on an equal playing field. By default, there's a vast majority of people that I help are black, right? But it's an organisation that doesn't discriminate or limit its assistance based on race. Literally, anyone that needs help, we're available to help you.
Okay. And I feel, you say like a majority of people that will approach you that want the advice or at least just an understanding of the steps are black. Do you think it's important they can see you and go, well, this is someone I can relate to more? Because me and you talk, and when we do, I don't feel like I'm talking to just a lawyer. I'm talking to a guy who understands me.
The thing is, it depends on the context that it happens in. So, for example, in court, it's excellence because all of a sudden, someone will see you and be like, someone understands me, they relax, the trust is built, and actually makes my job much more easier. In certain settings, you want to be careful because sometimes familiarity can inadvertently breed complacency. People get lazy,
of course,
and they get a bit too comfortable. If that makes sense to you. So, for example, I've had instances where, I've done events and I provide opportunities for young people, to meet professionals and come to environments that they're not used to. And they may come in T-shirts, baseball caps, trainers. And it may be, if it's the case that they can't afford it, fair enough. But if it's a case that you can, but you're deciding that, well, he's one of us and he's cool, I can get away with it, it's not necessarily a good thing.
Okay. And it's hard with our people sometimes, isn't it? Because you get where their mentality is, but also like, look, I'm trying to help. Come on, work with me.
But it's not even that. It's just more a case where, like, I definitely feel that, one of the kind of big issues that as a community we have is that there's this false dichotomy that you can't be many things. All of a sudden, just because, I'm black and I'm from East London, I'm not supposed to, like caviar or go to the opera.
Which we know is silly,
why can't I not do those things but still go to a Drake concert, still on the weekend, wear my ripped jeans, D squared and Louboutins. Why does it have to be a choice between one or the other? And unfortunately, from a cultural point of view, we kind of have this false notion that we have to pick, whereas other cultures don't.
They don't. You can be what you want.
Exactly.
How you want,
So
when you want. Yeah.
I kind of feel that, and I felt that as well. A lot from speaking to a lot of people who kind of feel they don't know what to do or how to be, or they have to pretend to be someone else.
Okay. And one thing I want to big up as well, receiving an MBE, sir. How did that feel for your works in law?
It felt good. It felt good.
It's like it took a second or two for
It
you
was
to think of the
it was that
answer.
dramatic effect. I gave the pause because we're on radio, you see, so it was like enhanced the anticipation before I delivered the answer. But yeah, it felt good. It felt really good. I felt it was funny because it felt really good when I received a letter saying, "Do you want it?" So they sent a letter asking me, "Did I want it?" And that felt great.
I didn't even know the steps for this, like in terms of receiving it. So you get a letter through the
So
door.
yeah, and they ask you, "Do you want it?" Because you can say no, because there are people that have turned it down.
There has been,
Yeah. So and that's how you turn it down. You tick the box and say no, thank you.
Nah,
It's a tick box.
you're not gonna. There was not a part of you that went, "Do I really want this?" It was more, "Yeah, let's go."
No, not for me.
Yeah.
No, not for me. I was happy to receive it, and it was a great moment. My family enjoyed it, and it's something that I'll always remember. So yeah.
Do you know what? I've got a list of kind of accreditations here. Obviously, the MBE is a big one. GQ magazine, one of the most influential people under. This is a weird number. It says 38.5.
You know why they did? They did that because I think Kanye was in the list, right? Because it was a global list, and Kanye was 38.5.
So they wanted to add him in there.
So they added him to the list, but yeah, it other than him at that point in time, I think it was 35 because it was Tom Hardy was number 1. I think Drake was number 2. Prince William was number 3. And that's all I remembered because that's kind of my claim to fame where I could say, well, look, you know what?
I'm the same list as...
I was on the same list, even though I was like 33. I was like, listen, 1 to 3 was quite big.
Still fantastic.
Funny thing about it, that got more traction than anything that I've accomplished today.
Serious?
That GQ, bizarrely, got so much traction.
I think it's probably the name. It's literally the 2 letters there. GQ. As soon as they hear that, it's like, wow, this is. And look who else was on the list. Kanye, you said Tom Hardy. I mean, that kind of list is elite.
Yeah, but there are other things, for example, like the MBE and other things you'd think, okay, you know what, equally as much traction. GQ thing literally was one of the things that perhaps enhanced my profile.
Okay, fair enough. And speaking of your profile as well, something you're really good at. We've discussed this before as well, but even if you just go on your social media, you understand the importance of being able to market yourself on platforms like social media, where in many people's head, thinking of let's say a lawyer or someone who works within law at all, marketing himself on social media would be like, well, why would you want to do that? It seems like a different platform for someone in that field, but it's something you really balance well.
You know why? Because I have an appreciation of the times that we live in. And we're in an era now where there are 2 worlds, offline and online.
Yeah.
And the first thing that happens is that as soon as you tell someone who you are, what you do, they go and check.
That's very true,
and
yeah. Let me Google this person.
Let me go and check who this person is.
Yeah.
And in the work that I do, especially when I'm dealing with people that are charged with very serious offences that may involve large sums of money, people want to go and see who's this person that's acting on my behalf or on my loved one's behalf. Obviously, the branding needs to be consistent with the service that I'm providing. Also, it's a good platform to promote the work that my charity does as well.
Very true, yeah.
And also, all of us are brands. Whether we like it or not, we're all brands. Some people look at social media as a way of showing their life. I don't. I look at it as a way of promoting and enhancing my brand, to be fair, and really more of a reflection of, the work that I do and the things that I'm involved in a wider spectrum.
Okay. No, it's very true. We had many people that we speak to on the show, and a lot of them are kind of, they try to be, it's almost like they try to be anti-social media, because in their eyes it's like, well, why would I want people to kind of see the art form in whatever field that they do? And it's like, well, it doesn't take away if you're on a platform where other people may not use it correctly. You're still a brand. Market yourself correctly.
That's so spot on, and I'm glad that you got that. But people don't really appreciate and understand that. And also, if you're someone that's using it differently, it puts you in a very unique position.
Yeah.
People will recognize you and you'll stand out. So in fact, you become an influencer by default for a good reason, as opposed to following what everybody else does.
That's very true.
So
I got to ask some of these questions. This is for me personally. I know you can't go through details, but even just an outline of maybe a really difficult case that stands out in your mind that you've had to work.
Define difficult. Sorry, it's the lawyer in me.
Okay, so I don't know. One where I don't know. It was maybe difficult for you to work on. Maybe because you either had to. Would you say prosecution or defense?
Only defend.
Only defend.
Only defend.
Maybe difficult to defend because I don't know, moral compass or just even the people you've had to work with whilst defending.
I had a murder case, which was death by fire, arson, and what happened was that my client was accused of being one of 4 that were responsible for petrol bombing a home address. 2 of the occupants in at the time were able to jump out the window, broke their legs. One of the occupants was not so lucky, and that person died. Now, the reason why that case was difficult was that the occupants were from, and I'm trying to be hard and vague and trying to hide the messages.
Of course, yeah.
Were from an African country, and the person that died was literally due to go back home in a couple of hours. Left 2 young kids, and at the end of the case, the family of the deceased came up to me, right? And that's never happened before, one. And secondly, they wanted to say, thank you, you did a great job.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Apologies.
Is that for me?
That's not for you. My phone just went off for some mad reason. Go ahead.
They were like, you did a great job. It's nothing personal. It's inspiring seeing you in the courtroom, because we don't get to see, many young black barristers there. They're like, keep up the good work. And then they proceeded to tell me about the impact about losing their loved one had on their family, and about how the kids were, asking them, saying things like, well, how can you guys have got out, but mummy couldn't get out? Mummy's younger. It was correct. So that had a big impact on me.
The difficulty, I guess,
So it was difficult just in the sense that that's never happened. It's a very peculiar thing for, the victim's family to come and, congratulate you on a job, bearing in mind you're acting on the other side.
Yeah.
And then share and divulge that story. That was tricky.
I guess it's a testament to maybe just how delicately you handled the case whilst also doing your job. If the people on the other side were still able to come up to you and go, look, well done for how you dealt with that. I mean, if it isn't from the opposite side, yeah.
Yeah, but it was difficult. Like, emotionally, it was difficult. Other than that, I haven't really had any instances where emotionally I've been like, oh, I can't deal with this case. I've been doing it for 12 years. So, any of those kind of feelings, I probably got rid of them a long time ago. Whereas now it's I'm kind of accustomed to it and become a bit desensitized to it. But when that happened, it was like,
no, I can
shock,
understand. Yeah,
because I was thinking, whoa, and he wanted to hug me, so I was like, huh? It was like, it was weird.
Yeah,
it was like, yeah. Even to this day, thinking about it, it's just that kind of had me choked up.
See, I watch. I mean, this is almost trivializing what you do, but I do watch things like Law and Orders and so on.
Everyone says the same thing to me. Everyone's like, oh, I watch Law and Order, I watch Suits, How to Get Away with Murder.
No. See, I do it from an angle. I'm speaking from an angle where I understand that even when I approach it by just saying that, it almost trivializes your job because it's a TV program. There's so much in there that may have context relative to your work, but then also there's things that are sensationalized just for screen. But one thing that I always think is seeing the difference between somebody who is a prosecutor and a defending is it prosecution and defense, right?
Yeah, spot on.
And sometimes seeing how not saying you at all, but I know you do work defense, but some of the people that do work defense, how they almost have to throw their moral compass to the side.
Another thing is, right, that was a very indirect way of asking the question that everybody asks me. How can you defend people that you know are guilty?
See, I wouldn't ask it.
That was an indirect, but it was an indirect.
No, do you know why? Do you know why I wouldn't say that? Because there are times that you know that this person isn't guilty and you're defending because you genuinely believe this is what I need to do.
It was a very slick way of doing it because you added the word moral compass. It was like, really? All right. What people fail to appreciate is that in Commonwealth jurisdictions, the trial process is a fact-finding exercise. It's not an investigation about the truth. So a lot of people think, oh my God, how can it be justice? The exercise, we have an adversarial system. It's, can you prove your case or not? Yeah. And the objective is to disprove the case that's been brought. The case that's been brought may not be a reflection of what happened, firstly. Secondly, Secondly, there's information that inevitably and invariably doesn't come before the court that might change your view on it. So my job purely is I come in, kind of combatant like, and I'm doing the best for my client based on the material that's been brought before the court. So there isn't this kind of idea of like, what's good and what's wrong.
Yeah.
No. And in instances where if a client says to me, I did it, they pleading guilty invariably. It's not a case where people see on television that someone says, I did it, but how are we going to get off? It doesn't really work like that.
Okay.
There are exceptions, right? Just to be kind of clear for those legal ears that are listening to the show, where, for example, if the evidence is insufficient or weak, you're still able to defend someone, but you can't put forward a positive case. So you can't say, that person can't give evidence to say I didn't do it, and you're not allowed to mislead the court. Yeah. But if the evidence is weak, you can get up and say you can't prove it.
Okay. And it's to prove without a reasonable doubt, isn't it?
The language has changed. So historically it was called reasonable doubt. It's satisfied so that you're sure. Means the same thing, but I think just from a clarity point of view, it's easier. Satisfied so you're sure. So if you're not sure, that's it, not guilty.
Nice. Okay. It's for me, there's so much I want to ask, only because, but I can't because we've got other guests we got to get in as well. I really enjoy like talking about, I've always thought if I was to go back in time, if it wasn't entertainment, it'd be something in psychology or in law, one of those two, because understanding people and then also having to work for people in that kind of sense has always been a deep interest for me. So yeah, thank you for even just, I didn't know the language had even changed, but just even giving me some insight in that sense. Thank you very much, sir.
No problem.
Social media for you and also for urban lawyers, how can people find?
It's very straightforward. Urban Lawyers, it's just Urban Lawyers. Mm-hmm. Type it in social media, you'll find it. In relation to me, it's just my name. The likelihood is if you just type in Tunde, I'll probably come up anyway.
There's a few Tundes out there, though. Come on, there's a couple out there.
There's only one.
You make it sound, yeah. There's a few, but there's only really.
To be fair, there's the musician actually, who I give credit
okay.
for, because he's actually got Tunde as his Instagram name, just as Tunde. I was like, okay.
You wanted that, innit?
Yeah. I think he added me in something actually to prove the point and say he's got it. So, but yeah, good musician still.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got Dr. Tunde. I'm going to say this again. And okay. Oh, no, you messed me up because you make me feel like if I say it how I would say it, it's not good enough because it hasn't got the accent. One more time. Okewale. Is that the best we're going to do?
It's all right.
Nah, bro, no, don't do that to me.
Let's fade into the next song.
This guy. Okay, fine. Do just say Dr. Tunde MBE. We'll leave that bit out then if you're not going to tell me how to say it with a certain accent there. Come on, one more time for me so at least I get it correct. In the accent you say, go on.
Nah, we good, man.
I feel like I'm in trouble. I'm going to play this next track right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Mahalia and LMA, What You Did, right here in the scene. Let's go.